Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we're continuing to read Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita, chapter 13. October 15, Srila Prabhupada received a letter from Sumati Morarji in Bombay. Pujya Swami, I am in due receipt of your letter dated the 24th ultimo and glad to know that you have safely reached the USA after suffering from seasickness. I thank you for your greetings and blessings. I know by now you must have recovered fully from the sickness and must be keeping good health. I was delighted to read that you have started your activities in the States and have already delivered some lectures. I pray to Lord Bala Krishna to give you enough strength to enable you to carry the message of Sri Bhagavatam. I feel that you should stay there until you fully recover from your illness and return only after you have completed your mission. Here, everything is normal. With respect, yours sincerely, Sumati Morarji. So Prabhupada regarded the last line of this letter as especially significant. His well-wisher was urging him to stay in America until he had completed his mission. He had told the immigration officials in New York that he would be staying in America for 2 months. I have 1 month sponsorship in Butler, he thought, and then I have no support, so perhaps I can stay another month. So he had said 2 months. Sumati Moraji, however, was urging him to stay on. He saw that prospects for preaching to Americans were good, but he felt he would need support from India. At any rate, he had spent long enough in Butler. He now had 1 month left in America. So he decided to go to New York City and try to preach there before his time was up. But first, he wanted to visit Philadelphia, where he had arranged a meeting with Sanskrit professor Dr. Norman Brown at the University of Pennsylvania. Miss Agarwal was sorry to see him go. Sally, after a month, I really loved the Swamiji. I felt protective in a way, and he wanted to go to Philadelphia, but I could not imagine. I told him I could not imagine him going to Philadelphia for 2 days. He was going to speak there and then to New York, but he knew no one in New York. If the thing did not pan out in Philadelphia, he was just going to New York, and then there was no one. I just could not imagine. It made me sick. I remember the night he was leaving about 2 in the morning. I remember sitting there as long as he could wait before Gopal took him to Pittsburgh to get on that bus. Gopal got a handful of change, and I remember telling him how to put the money in the slot so that he could take a bath at the bus station, because he was supposed to take a bath a few times a day. And Gopal told him how to do that and told him about the automats in New York. He told him what he could eat, what he could not eat, and he gave him these coins in a sock. And that's all he left us with. As a sannyasi, Srila Prabhupada was used to picking up and leaving one place for another. As a mendicant preacher, he had no remorse about leaving behind the quiet life of Butler YMCA, and he had no attachment for the domestic habitat where he would cook and talk with Sally Agarwal about the vacuum cleaner, frozen foods, and American ways. But why had he gone to Butler? And why was he going to New York? He saw it as Krishna's place. As a pure devotee of Krishna, he wanted to be an instrument for distributing Krishna consciousness. His stay in Butler had been helpful. He had gotten first-hand experience of American life. He gained confidence that his health was strong and his message communicable. He was glad to see that America had the necessary ingredients for his Indian vegetarian diet, that the people could understand his English. He had learned that casual one-time lectures here and there were of limited value, and that although there would be opposition from the established religions, people individually were very much interested in what he had to say. On October 18th, he left Butler via Philadelphia for New York City. Chapter 14, Struggling Alone. I used to sit in the back and listen to his meetings silently. He was speaking all impersonal nonsense. I kept my silence. Then one day he asked if I would like to speak, and I spoke about Krishna consciousness. I challenged that he was speaking manufactured philosophy and all nonsense from Shankaracharya. He tried to back out and said he was not speaking. Shankaracharya was speaking. I said, you are representing him. That is the same thing. He then said to me, Swamiji, I like you very much, but you cannot speak here. But although our philosophies differed, and he would not let me speak, he was kind and I was nice to him. Prabhupada knew no one in New York City, but he had contact Dr. Ramamurthy Mishra. He had written Dr. Mishra from Butler, enclosing the letter of introduction Paramananda Mehra had given him in Bombay. He had also phoned Dr. Mishra, who welcomed Prabhupada to join him in New York. At the Port Authority bus terminal, a student of Dr. Mishra's met him as he arrived from Philadelphia and escorted him directly to an Indian festival in the city. There, Prabhupada met Dr. Mishra as well as Ravi Shankar and his brother, the dancer Uday Shankar. Prabhupada then accompanied Dr. Mishra to his apartment at 33 Riverside Drive beside the Hudson River. The apartment was on the 14th floor and he had large windows overlooking the river. Dr. Mishra gave Prabhupada a room to himself. Dr. Mishra was dramatic, showy personality, given to flashing glances, making expressive gestures with his hands. He regularly used words like lovely and beautiful, presenting an artfully polished image of what a guru should be. He was what some of New Yorkers refer to as an uptown Swami. Before coming to America, Dr. Mishra had been a Sanskrit scholar and a guru, as well as a doctor. He had written a number of books, such as Textbook of Yoga Psychology and Self-Analysis and Self-Knowledge, a work based on teachings of the monistic philosopher Shankara. After he came to United States, he continued with his medical profession, but as he began taking disciples, he gradually dropped his practice. Although a sannyasi, he did not wear traditional saffron dhoti and kurta, but instead wore tailored Nehru jackets and white slacks. His complexion was dark, whereas Prabhupada's was golden. He had thick black hair. 44. He was young enough to be Prabhupada's son. Dr. Mishra had been suffering from bad health when Srila Prabhupada came into his life, and Prabhupada's arrival seemed the perfect medicine. Ramamurti Mishra. His Holiness Prabhupada Bhaktivedanta Goswamiji really knocked me down with love. He was really an incarnation of love. My body had become a skeleton and he really brought me back to life. His cooking, especially his love and his devotion to Lord Krishna, I was very lazy in the matter of cooking, but he would get up and have ready. Dr. Mishra appreciated that Prabhupada cooking with precision of chemist would prepare many dishes and then he had a gusto for eating. Ramamurti Mishra, it was not bread he gave me prasada. This was life, and he saved my life. At that time, I was not sure I would live, but he's happy to eat on time, whether I was hungry or not, that I very much like. He had, he would get up and say, all right, this is Bhagavad Prasadam, and I would say, all right. John Sewell, an old student of Dr. Mishra, is often saw Srila Prabhupada and her teacher together at Drive apartment. John Sewell, I have a memory of Swamiji as a child in the sense of his being very innocent, very simple person, very pure. The impression I have from Dr. Mishra is that he regarded Swamiji as father figure who was kindly and good, but basically the words most often used referring to Swamiji were like a child, meaning that he was simple in a classical, beautiful sense. Dr. Mishra mentioned to me that when I was first introduced to Swamiji, that he was very holy man, very religious, wrapped in God consciousness. Swamiji was very sweet. I myself remember him as very, very good man, even in the practical details of living in New York, which seemed to involve him very much because he was practical man and was looking for the best place to begin his work. I remember very well that he was always careful about washing his clothes out every night. I would come in and find a group of students in the living area of Dr. Mishra's apartment, and in the bathroom would be hung Swamiji's orange robes. I think we can stop here. So now we have seen that Srila Prabhupada, you know, had stayed 1 month in Butler, and Sally was, feel missing Prabhupada and his stay. with all the memories. And Prabhupada moved to New York, and he had a contact from somebody gave to him in Bombay, and he contacted Mr. Mishra, and Mishra was impersonalist, even though he claims he's a sannyasi, but I think he's you know not following real sannyasi way, and he's like a modern sannyasi in New York. And the good thing is he gave a stave to Srila Prabhupada, and he likes Srila Prabhupada's compassion, and he treat him as a fatherly figure. And we'll see what happens next in New York. And you see, like Prabhupada doesn't have any money, and he doesn't know what to do or how to use some of the things, and you know, Sally and others are helping him, and he could do everything to complete his mission or do the preaching. Also, as we heard that in Butler, Prabhupada got a confidence that how to preach, and there is some interest from the local people individually. People are interested, but maybe not